Well, tonight we continue our investigation into Community Action Duluth.
And Northern News Now has confirmed the state is looking into the organization's finances. You remember nearly a month ago, vendors raised concerns after the sudden cancellation of the Lincoln Park Farmers Market, saying they hadn't been paid in months. Days later, Northern News Now obtained paperwork showing CAD had more than $120,000 in unpaid bills dating back to the summer. CAD union employees then held a news conference alleging financial mismanagement, hostile work conditions, and sexual harassment off the hands of Executive Director Classie Dudley.
On Wednesday night, farmers market vendors tried to confront Community Action Duluth board members and Executive Director Classie Dudley over those growing concerns.
And the board was scheduled to meet at CAD's offices, but instead moved the meeting to the Lyric restaurant downtown Duluth without notice. Vendors say it felt like an attempt to avoid them as they were seeking answers.
Our Northern News Now's Kyrie Johnson was there and tried to sit in. She joins us live in studio. Kyrie, what happened next?
Yeah, Dan and Laura, those vendors attempted to confront the board members inside Lyric last night, and they were successful in being allowed to have a conversation with them. However, I was asked to leave due to the meeting being a private matter, and moments later, security arrived to escort me out of the building. Documents from a third-party finance organization that were presented to the board show that vendor bills were 40 days past due on May 31st and 70 days past due on July 31st. A pattern of accrual that was presented to the board on multiple occasions. Each line item states payment was expected within 10 to 14 days. Vendors said that 2 weeks ago they asked to be added to the board agenda and received no response. So they showed up Wednesday night demanding answers. I spoke with vendors before the confrontation. They were deeply frustrated and confused about missing payments, and I followed them into Lyric, recording excerpts of a longer, heated exchange between board member Azreen Awal and the vendors.
The press release says that every farmer has been paid until the end of August 25th, and farmers are telling me we haven't seen that check.
On November 21st, the CAD Board of Directors announced a workplace investigation would be initiated. A state investigator was present at that meeting last night. She said her role was to observe.
I'm with the state.
Okay.
Yes. I'm here to observe the board meeting for tonight.
Executive Director Dudley and Salam Witherspoon, who is now acting as the chair of the board after the departure of the previous chair, Sean Pearson, were also present at the meeting. I attempted to talk to both of them, Witherspoon saying she would get back to me today.
You were on my list to call back. I confirmed that I will talk to you.
Okay, by tomorrow.
Yes.
Witherspoon never returned my calls today, and Executive Director Dudley walked away from me when I tried to introduce myself and ask a question. Board members repeatedly called media coverage misinformation, blaming it for problems. Awal specifically disputed our earlier report that $120,000 in unpaid bills existed.
Our invoices that are remaining outstanding was around that 70.
Awal was not happy that I was present and asked me to leave, saying the meeting was private and closed. Bylaws require board meetings to generally follow Minnesota's open meeting laws, but I was barred from the room and then asked to leave by Holiday Center security officers. After the meeting, the vendors told me no new plans had been made, and the behavior of the board members did not leave them feeling optimistic about future communication. Now, vendors also told me that during the private meeting, the board did acknowledge owing many vendors money and said checks were being sent. The vendors say they haven't received any payment recently. The vendors added that they also pushed for clearer communication and a plan for the market's future. Live in studio, Kyrie Johnson, Northern News Now.